So I also teach at Nelly Berman School along with Joe, and we actually have a couple teachers in common going back a few teachers. So I'm excited to hear how his students sound. And a master class, if you haven't played in one, is kind of like a group lesson where each student will play their piece, and then I'll give them some feedback and ideally work on one or two items in the master class that they can improve on and take away. And hopefully it's something that maybe you haven't thought about yourself, or you have worked on a lot and you can gain a little bit of extra info about. And we'll see. Sometimes we talk about airs, sometimes we talk about technique, sometimes we talk about the piece itself, and it might inspire you to learn that piece. And so first we're going to have Henry go. Henry, why don't you tell everybody the name of your piece?
My piece is Nocturne by El Bossi. It is revised by H. Bachman, and it's the piece I've been auditioning with.
Great. That's wonderful. And do you know anything else about the piece or the composer that might be helpful to share for the audience?
I'm pretty sure Bossi made opera works into clarinet pieces, so it's sort of like an opera, I think.
Yeah, that's a great point and something really cool for us to listen to. So I'll keep that in mind, and I'll let you play the whole thing through since we have plenty of time, okay?
Got
So
it.
go ahead whenever you're ready and I'll take notes.
Ah, I have to read a little bit higher up.
Okay.
Sorry, it's like
That's okay. You have a whole room of clarinetists. We all
I
understand.
want the sound right. There you go.
That's
Henry, you sound great, okay? So don't be nervous and you'll be fine, okay?
Yeah, it just sounds wonky on my side. Make sure that's right. There you go.
Good job. I know you can't hear anybody else clapping, but I imagine they are. Good job, Henry. Thank you so much for playing that. Okay, so I have it on my phone. That's kind of why I'm looking down. So Henry, tell me a little bit about opera. I actually think that was a great thing that you mentioned in the beginning. What do you think of when you think of opera?
And dramatic. There's
Mm-hmm.
lots of contrast, lots of contradictions at some parts. Sometimes it's slow, sometimes it's or voice.
Yeah, absolutely. And I agree. I loved that you said contrast and drama, those two things. So let's kind of work on getting this piece to be even more dramatic and operatic in that way. So let's kind of hop around and we'll use different techniques around the piece to get that to be really dramatic. One of those spots, let's see. Let's actually take, if you look at your music, I want you to take the pickup to the second line. And one of the ways that we're going to be really dramatic is we're going to use tons of air support all the way up to that high D. So for anyone listening, we're going up to a high D, and what we want to do is give it some drama, and we're going to do that with volume. So Henry, could you start on the pickup to line 2 and really make the high D kind of more like a forte with an accent? Henry, did you hear my instruction?
Oh yeah, like a forte with an accent. You cut off a little bit though.
Yeah, so take the pickup to line 2, and what we want to do is add more volume to make it more dramatic. A very long and big forte. Go ahead.
Like that.
Yeah, and can you play all the way to the fermata at the end of line 2 to get that concept? Beautiful. I like your stretching, but now let's see if we can get more drama without putting a breath mark before the D. So instead of that breath before it, can we go all the way through? I want you to reach above that and get that D out. Good, that was better. I think that that carries the momentum and the drama up to the D and doesn't break it. That's very nice. Now let's do that same kind of idea of not placing a breath where we want drama on the very ending. So let's go all the way to the end of page 2. And let's do the last 3 bars first, and then we'll work backwards. Here we want to make sure that that's one long run from D to the high D. So like this. Can you try that? Try one more time to get that smooth. Try one more time for me, Henry. Yeah. That's beautiful. So we really want to place those breaths in our piece where they won't interrupt the line, and that makes it more dramatic. Okay, good. So now let's do a section. Let's see, looking through my notes here. I want to actually talk to you about your first cadenza on the bottom of page 2. That one could have used a little bit of more shape and drama to show that you're taking control of the music at that point. Could you play that one for me again? Okay, I can hear you again now. Okay, could we do the cadenza on the end of page 1?
Yeah.
That's okay, try again. Good, nice turn, Henry. So I want to do a game that I would do with my own teacher. I want you to actually count up those notes in that first slur and tell me how many there are. Could you do that for me? So what I'm doing, everybody, is I'm asking him to count up the notes in his cadenza, which looks like a lot of tiny little notes. I'll actually hold it up to my computer screen. So sometimes we have, yeah, Henry, how many is it?
12 and 4.
12, good. Okay, so for the 12 group, let's pretend that those are groups of 4, almost like the regular 16th notes. What I want to do is try and get them to be even, and then once we know them really, really well, we'll play them unevenly and a little bit more dramatically. So the first step in that process is to get them even. So can you play those 12 notes in even groups of 4, so 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a like that. Do it one more time for me. One more time. How are you playing that F to G flat? Are you gonna flip your fingers?
Yeah.
Okay, so just make that nice and easy. Good. Now I want you to play another version of that. Could you do 4 groups of triplets? So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
Good, excellent. So sometimes changing that rhythm will make it harder for your brain at first, and then it kind of helps your fingers learn that pattern. So now now that you've kind of cleaned that up a tiny bit, could you make that super dramatic, even more dramatic than you played before? Like stretch the first note. Good. And let's go even a tiny bit further on that. Could you be really loud on that ending? So bum, ba-dee-da-dee-da-dee-dum. I want you to pass off to the piano really boldly, just to try it. Yeah. Did you make a decision to be softer on that B flat, or is that like an intentional choice?
I wanted to make it like slightly softer.
Okay, that's fine. If you make a musical choice, you should stick to it. And I like that you now have that run really clean and a little bit more dramatic to be really operatic. That kind of represents an aria when someone would get to have a solo in an opera piece. And so you want to ham it up as much as you can. Okay, let's do one more section before we go over to Kenny, okay? So let's do, I had a section. Actually, it's just right before that. So one of the ways to make syncopation really dramatic is to make it sort of long. I noticed that you really understand the tenuto idea of long notes. So let's apply it to the measure right before this cadenza. Could you start on the pickup A, B, C that's right above that cadenza? And what we want to do is really sing out full notes all the way through that line.
Wait, where?
So I'll play it for you. It's just above where that cadenza is in the music. I'll play exactly kind of what I'm talking about. Really full notes to make it dramatic. harden to the cadenza. Do you see where I am, Henry, on the music? So if you look at the cadenza that we were just looking at, just go exactly above it on the sheet music.
Found it.
Okay. So try playing that line, but really, really big and dramatic when you get to the end of it.
Yeah, I think I'm looking at the wrong one.
So the cadenza that we just were at, go 3 measures before it.
Yeah, I know. That was my bomb.
Okay. I'll let you go in a sec. Just this one thing we want to fix.
Right here. That part?
So see the cadenza that we were just at?
Wait, hold up.
The cadenza that we just worked on?
Oh, I'm done.
That's okay, just go 3 before that. Yeah. Good, Henry. So the really important thing that I want to try and teach you right in this moment is those 2 accented notes. Those should be really long and really accented. So really long and really accented, so it should sound like this. See if you can play that again right on that measure. Good, that was very dramatic. I can hear a very big difference. So good. That you're doing a fantastic job with this piece, Henry. I think just go back through each time you practice and listen for new opportunities to make it over the top dramatic. When you're playing this Italian music, it's okay to be kind of over the top and cheesy with it, even if it sounds almost like a cartoon. Okay? Good job, Henry. Thank you so much, and good luck on your future auditions. All right, I'm going to mute you, and I'm going to unmute Matthew. Let's see if I can figure out how to do that. Maybe.
Sure.
Oh, they can just do it themselves. Okay. Hey, Matthew. It's very nice to meet you.
That's Kenny.
Oh, Kenny, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's my dad's name.
Sorry, Kenny. Okay, good. So, Kenny, you're playing 2 little pieces by Schumann. I'm excited to hear these. Schumann's one of my favorite composers. He's very good at writing vocal music. It's kind of nice that we're both playing composers that wrote vocal music. So, Kenny, which one do you want to play first for us?
First loss.
Okay, great. I'm excited to hear it. Go ahead.
Hold on. Let me see if I can. I'm getting it. Sorry, I'm pulling up the song. I'm pulling up the accompaniment.
Okay. Oh, accompaniment. This is like a real masterclass.
You ready? I don't know how to do this. Louder.
God, I just messed up.
That's okay. Go right from where you were. Hey, Kenny.
Yeah.
You actually just finish it without the accompaniment because we just have one phrase, okay? So
Okay.
start right on that high B flat.
I can't get.
No, that's
That's the
okay.
last part.
Here, we get the music.
Yeah, we'll get the music.
Yeah, that's fine. Good, Kenny. Excellent. And I want you to have the music so I can coach you with it, or you can finish the piece.
Okay, I have it right here.
There you go. Here.
I don't
Good.
know why I forgot it all of a sudden.
That's okay. There's a lot going on, and this is anytime you're in a performance situation, it's really normal to have memory slips. Okay, great. So let's work just a bit on that one before we go over to the other piece. You have a beautiful sound, Kenny. I really love your tone, and I can hear some of your dynamic choices, which is awesome. I think we could exaggerate those even more, and I know it's really hard to work on dynamics over the internet with our computers kind of getting in the way, but I think we could practice in this special way that I used to do with my own teacher. So go ahead and look, let's see, look at measure 6. Do you see that on your music? It's the second line.
Hmm?
Okay.
Oh, whoops. Here.
And I actually,
Yeah, that one.
I happen to have the music that you have, and I can see that you or your teacher has put a crescendo towards the F sharp. Do you see that on your music?
Mhm.
Okay, great. So what we're going to do is we're going to practice that dynamic without the notes. And I know that sounds a little crazy, but what I want you to do is mentally play those notes in your head, but really practice your air. So I'll give you an example. I'm going to play the crescendo to the F sharp in my head. So hopefully through the computer you can hear that I crescendoed all the way till that downbeat, and then I did a decrescendo after. Could you try that? I want you to just only focus on your air. So crescendo on the B flat, and then don't play any other notes. Good. And can you do it exactly 2 counts getting louder and 2 counts getting softer? So 1, 2, 1, 2. Try that. Good. I can hear it even through the computer. So I'm sure it's happening big time on your end. So now let's try adding in. Am I frozen? I hope not.
No.
Okay, good.
You were for like a second, but you're good now.
Oh, this is so hard. Okay, you guys are being super patient and wonderful. So now, Kenny, go ahead and play the notes as written, but really commit to that dynamic change, okay? Go ahead. Beautiful. So now I can really hear that. That's excellent. Let's take that over to the next part. So see, after the second ending on the high G, I want you to do that same thing, except now it's longer. So now we're doing 2 whole bars of getting louder and 2 whole bars of getting softer. So I'll play it once. So we're doing that same idea of 2, but it's now bigger. It's 2 bars and 2 bars. Could you try that with the notes?
Can I tune quickly?
Can you do what quickly?
Tune.
Sure.
Sorry. It's
Okay, you're good.
yeah. No, I'm not. Okay.
Okay, so go
I'm
ahead
ready.
on that next section. I want you to do 2 really big, obvious crescendo measures and 2 really beautiful, soft diminuendo measures. Good, Kenny. I want you to do that one more time, and I want you to keep your tempo going even when you get soft. That's a really common thing that happens. We want to play slower when we soften our air, but we don't always have to. And in this case, we don't want to lose time. Can you try that again?
It says in the dynamics. It says on the paper thingy it's somewhat slower.
Oh, well, then just ignore everything I just said, and you did great, because I heard the slowdown. Sorry, I don't know this piece as well as Mr. Joe does. Okay, well, then that was perfect. It totally came across, and I did hear your dynamics, so that was good choice. Okay, I'm going to bring the music back out so I can properly teach. Okay, and so, and later on, just to give you a piece of positive feedback, your forte accents at the end, super good. They were really obvious. They didn't come across as too harsh. But as we went to the ending, we actually got a little out of tune. And you might have heard that because you asked to tune. When we get softer on our clarinet, and Henry and Botong, this is good for you to know, when we get softer, our pitch likes to go sharp. And so that means we go up a little higher than what would be normally acceptable on our tuner. And that doesn't matter so much when we're by ourselves, but as soon as we add a pianist or, of course, an orchestra with us, we want to stay in tune and we don't want to go sharp. And so, Kenny, could we go and do the ending? So right on your forte eighth notes, but at the ending, when you get soft, try to keep your pitch down. And when you do that, you try and just open your mouth just like maybe a centimeter. I don't want you to go too crazy. I just want you to try and imagine that the pitch isn't going to go sharp. I know this is kind of an advanced topic. Let's hear you try and do it at the forte eighth notes. That was better than the first time. One of the things that you can also do to keep your pitch down on those notes is you can cover, and I don't want to get too far into this, Joe, because maybe you don't want to teach us yet, but Kenny, what you can do is you can maybe, let's just try it with one finger at first. When you're playing your open G, do you see when I press down my finger how many of my keys move? That can help bring the pitch down. So can you play the last 3 notes and use that? So
I think I know the chromatic index. This, and then this for the G, and then for the A.
That's great. Are you using those for this moment in the piece?
Yes. Yes, I am.
Okay, good. Great. And so if you're already using those covering fingerings, that's great. Also, if you find that you're getting a little too sharp in your ear, you can just drop your chin. So can you go like this, Kenny? Go like this. E-O, E-O, without your clarinet. E-O, E-O. Good. And so that O drops you down just the tiniest bit, and that can be a good reminder to bring your pitch down. Okay, good. So we've talked about pitch, which is kind of a complicated thing to also fix over the internet. I don't know why I went into that. Okay, great, Kenny. Let's go ahead over to the Wild Horseman. So you have a second movement of the same piece. Let's hear that.
Here, do you want with accompaniment?
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. You have to give me a second with the accompaniment.
Okay.
I got it. I'm coming. Okay, you ready?
Mhm.
Hey, really good. That was nice and fast. Good job, Kenny. Okay, so Kenny, what is the hardest part of this piece to you, this movement?
I think the articulation.
Yeah, for sure. It's a lot of articulation and it just keeps on going, doesn't it? Where does your tongue start to feel tired?
Usually when I practice it a lot and play over and over again.
Well, yeah, we all get tired when we tongue over and over again. Do you have any particular exercises that you do separate from your solos to work on articulation?
Sometimes,
Sometimes? Okay.
like we do it on an open G,
That's great. That's
and
always the first one to do.
I
Yeah,
just practice articulating.
good. That's great. So one of the things that I do to make articulated pieces a little easier is I make it super hard when I'm practicing. So I'm gonna have you do that just as a little exercise to strengthen your tongue. Because your tongue is essentially a muscle just like anything else. So it can get faster, it can get stronger. Let me. So, Kenny, what I'm going to do is I'm going to articulate every note twice, just as an exercise, and I'm only going to do it for the first line. So like this. Can you try that? We're going to super load your tongue with extra work to try and get it to be stronger. Good. So can you try that again? Good job. Nice try. Try that a little bit crisper. Good. Okay, great. So that's one thing that you can do to practice. Sometimes I would even do 3 on a note or 4 on a note. And then when I go back to normal, it feels really, really, really easy just to play 1 note per the original what's written. So Kenny, let's talk a tiny bit about articulating. When you tongue, where do you feel your tongue in your mouth? Can you describe that?
On the roof of my mouth often.
Okay, that's great. And then
But
where?
only like not.
Go ahead.
What? No, never mind.
I think the roof of the mouth is a good place. What we want to try and do, this is really hard to show even when we're in person, but we want to try to find the place on the roof of our mouth where it has a little bump behind our teeth. So everybody feel your teeth with your tongue and kind of pull it back on the roof of your mouth. You'll feel a little bit of a bump. And it's where we say T. So everybody at home say T or two. And that ta-ta-ta sound will bring your tongue to the roof of your mouth. And that's really where we want to keep aiming while we're articulating. And that particular spot usually lines up really nicely with our reed inside of our mouth. So Kenny, I want to see if we can get your tongue to be just the tiniest bit lighter, even though you're nice and loud. So could we go to, let's just try the last line on measure 18. That's where in the upper notes we need to be a little bit lighter on our tongue. Can you try that and really focus on that T sound or 2 sound while you're playing?
Okay.
It kind of came out well. Okay, good. Now, can we do the first phrase? So from 18 to just 3 measures later, I want you to play that slurred, and I want your slur to be really connected. I'll try and play it. Let's see if I can get closer. And I'll demonstrate. So could you do that same thing, slur through that? You try. Really close. On the last grouping, so ba-dee-da-dum, could you make sure that your air is smooth all the way through that? Don't do any adjustments with your throat. Bo-doo. That was better. That was better. Now do it one more time with really strong accents, and then don't accent anything else. So only do where the accents show. Yeah, can you smooth out that last little group? You're doing so good. We're really doing something advanced. I want it to just be as smooth as possible unless it has an accent. Yeah, so Kenny, this is one thing you can continue to work on a really big leap like that A to F. Try and see if you can only focus your air to do that rather than any kind of adjustment with your throat. Clarinetists love to try and help ourselves up to a higher note because it's how we learn at first, but that one doesn't need it so much. I want you to only use your air. So now I'll try and play an example of that. Can you do it in slow motion like that? Connected? Yes, that was really good, Kenny. Can you try that one more time? Ooh. Try one more time for me. That was really good. Awesome, Kenny. That is really connecting with your air. That's really advanced. Good job. So now when we add our tongue, it's an extra layer of making that difficult. Could you do that again, but still feel the same? So 2, 2, 2, 2. Keep it connected even though we're tonguing that same group. Good. Try again. The computer cut out a little bit for me. Really good, Kenny. That's awesome. And what that's going to do is allow you to get a little faster with your tonguing. That's kind of the benefit of connecting through your air. So now let's take this section. We're going to open it back up a little bit, go to 18, and tongue it as normal with that same kind of idea and feeling that you're connecting through your air, okay? Yeah, good, Kenny. Great. That's really fantastic work. So when you are up in that upper register, don't ever forget to maintain that airstream through your clarinet. Okay, let's do that part right after the first repeat. So it's down on the low F. Do you see it? Do you see that part? So after the first repeat that starts with a low F, what I want to do here is talk a tiny bit about volume in our low register. So this is for everybody. In our low register, we don't project out to the audience as well. So we really have to kind of crank it with some extra volume. Could you, Kenny, play this section and go really big to sing it out? Good. I like that you're singing out with lots of volume. Can you keep it a little tighter in your mouth? So when we get bigger, we want the quality of our sound to stay the same as the rest of the time we play. So I want you to focus however you normally play with your lips and your sound. Don't change that when you play loud. Okay, so here's an example. But if I change my mouth, it can become quite different. Do you hear the difference, Kenny, between those two different ways of playing? Can you hear me? Kenny, can you hear me?
No.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, good.
Mhm.
So I played that
Yeah.
that section in two different.
Yeah, I can.
You can. Good. Great. So I want you to try on that section to have a really clear sound, even though you're gonna play loud. Can you try that again?
Mhm.
That's pretty good. That's great, Kenny. Okay, good. So you made great progress today. I actually think that Botong, one of your other classmates, is going to be able to play for a couple minutes. So we'll end right there. Kenny, keep it up. I think you're on a really great track, okay?
Okay.
Good
Thank you.
job. You can sigh, you can relax for the rest of the night. Okay, so let's see if Botong can come on.
No.
I don't actually know what he's working on. He said he wanted to try.
Yeah, I can play the introduction of one of my solo pieces
Great.
for one of my
Good.
auditions.
Great. Yeah, I'd love to hear just like a minute or two, and I'll try and give you some feedback. So what piece are you playing?
It's Concertino for Clarinet by Weber.
Okay, great. I love the concertino. I actually won a concerto competition on that piece, so it's probably the one that I know the most. So that's good. And all of
Okay.
these are opera composers, or like at least vocal composers. That's kind of great. I'm noticing a pattern.
All right. Should I start?
Yeah, so yeah, I'll cut you off in just a minute or two. Okay?
All right.
Say that again?
I said no. I already finished.
Okay,
But
perfect.
I didn't hear the whole thing. I could play again.
No, that's okay. I actually think we can work on just the very beginning. I have my score out here. Okay. So one of the things, you sounded beautiful from what I could hear already, and you clearly have an idea of how the piece should kind of unveil itself and kind of build up in intensity. I think very similar to some of the other students, we can work on the line being really long. So, for example, like your trill section, I want you to imagine that it doesn't have two separate measures. It instead is one long line up. So can you see where that first trill is? Yes, that's good. Now, can you make it can you play it without the trill actually, just so we can hear your dynamic path up through that line?
Yeah.
So play exactly how it's written, but just no trill. The grace notes are okay. Good. Make that second measure even more exaggerated with the dynamic so you continue from where you started. So ba ba dee dum ba da dee dum. Even if it's getting a little louder than you thought, just keep growing towards the top. And then it's a really beautiful subito piano after that moment.
Okay.
Yeah, and then you give yourself room to really be quiet in that next section. So just like what we've been talking about with the other pieces that are for vocalists, they really go big when they go big and then super soft when they go soft. And clarinets are one of the only orchestra instruments that can do that. And so composers really ask you to do really big extremes. And that's what will get the attention of your audience or your teacher or maybe an audition committee that might be listening to you. So I encourage you, I think we're out of time, which I know is so silly. We just worked on one thing. But keep taking that idea of really long lines with your dynamics and apply that throughout the whole movement. It's exactly, or the whole piece rather, because it's one big section. So take that and keep going even more and more dramatic in your dynamic contrast, because the clarinet can do that physically better than any other instrument. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
Okay, great. Thanks for playing. Sorry to get you to do that last minute. Okay, everybody, sorry for the internet troubles. I've had a lot of fun teaching everyone. Kenny, Henry, Botong, thanks for playing. And I hope you keep having fun with your lessons with Dr. Joe, okay?
Not Dr. Joe, just Joe.
Honorary doctorate.
No, come on. But thank you, Dr. Young. That was awesome.
Okay, good. Keep practicing, guys, and have fun. Bye.